Don't worry about it. My name's Kevin on the Atypical Grip. I'm with.
Bizarro Czar.
And we are going to talk another one on citizenship. But we're going to talk a little bit about what it means to be a civilian uh, in this model of citizenship and civilian dichotomy.
Right.
Why don't you bring up the other screen, please? Ah. So, in my view of it, going out the Starship Trooper model, civilians get to go through life completely unaware and uninvolved in
Hmm.
anything outside of their own private circle.
Hmm.
And they offload all the duties and responsibilities of that onto the state in which they pay for it.
Hmm.
They'll still have taxes, more like a civilian rate,
Would that be higher or lower than the citizen rate?
probably a little bit higher.
Makes sense. So they're more dependent on the state.
Well, not dependent, but they are recognizing their dependence upon the system. Therefore, as long as things are rolling well, what do you have to complain about?
Right.
As long as the trains run on time, who cares?
And if they don't, maybe you want to take on some service and
Right.
get your citizenship.
And then you can vote.
Right. So is that the main difference between
Yes.
the franchise?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that with your franchise, you can be called for service.
Okay.
You you're
So
you're you're not off the
a duty
hook.
to answer the call.
Uh huh.
So if you refuse the call, would you just lose your citizenship, or would there be more
Well,
severe consequences?
if you're a citizen, then you already put in your time, and therefore, if you're called up again, you know what you're doing.
Right.
A lot like what they have in Switzerland.
Yeah.
You
And
take your rifle home, and then while you're home, you got 300 rounds, and you got your machine gun. You muster every couple of months. You go, you shoot your weapon off, you make sure you're zeroed in, you go home. And at home, they have a room where you can safely store your ammo and your gear. And the way they work it is that if there is an emergency, then you have rally points around your community that once you know where to go, you rally, you go and you deploy. It's very much based on militia model. And everyone's involved. In Switzerland, it's compulsory.
right.
I would make it volunteer, but once you're in for like 20 years
Okay.
in a reserve status.
Okay.
So it it and what I like about the Starship Trooper model is that it's inclusive. In other words, if I wanted to be a citizen, I would not be
Barred.
from service.
Right.
They would we'd have to be a little creative in our way of, hey, go through this gauntlet of tanks, and if you survive, hey, you're a citizen.
Um, Now, if I remember from Starship Troopers, wasn't there something about
The movie or the book?
the book? Um, wasn't there something about like you don't get the franchise while you're in active duty as
That
a
is true.
soldier?
Or in service, or, as a teacher or whatever.
So it's not until you've
You're out.
completed your service.
That is correct.
So that I don't know if I 100% like that
I
idea.
like that.
So you have to be basically you have to have completed all of your
Well,
service before you get a vote on what happens.
well, right, because at the time you are a you're in you're basically a um your mechanism of the state. Your orders are your orders,
Right.
and if you're making orders from within, which is kind of like what like when Caligula, remember him?
I mean, I recognize the name, but you'd
He
have to
was a
remind me of what
he
it.
had some special guys looking after him, and to get to run roughshod. Well, I don't know. He would end up killing Caligula.
That's not very nice.
Right, because they wanted to set policy from the inside.
Well, so I guess the issue I could see with if you're currently serving and you don't get the franchise,
Mm.
the issue with that is that um,
You
it,
can
it's
vote
it's kind of
card.
an issue. So whether or not you get a vote um,
Mm.
on it depends. Like, are we talking about a representative form of government or
Well,
like a pure democracy where you're
and
voting on every issue?
what are we voting on in
Yeah.
this Terran Federation? I mean, if we're voting on war with the bugs, okay, that's one thing. Are we voting for tax policy at Zegama Beach? Are we voting for Antarctica drilling rights? For, our policy on Clandathu? I mean,
So that's what you're describing sounds more like a direct democracy versus
well,
like a representative form
I'm
of government.
asking questions. What are the scopes of the Terran Federation? Because the way I look at it is, it's like Ender's Game. You had the Strategos, and then you had you had,
Polomark,
the people doing all the fighting off world.
right?
And then you had people on the planet that pretty much did their own thing as long as they paid taxes and didn't get in the way of the war effort. You could do whatever you want.
You except have more than one child, unless you had a special
Two children.
disposition. Well, depends on where we are in the timeline, but yeah.
Well, in China, you could have one child.
I think in the early part of the
In just,
Formic, uh,
uh,
there was something about only one child, but I don't know.
well, the
And
problem.
Ender's family was a special case.
Well, injured, yeah, because they wanted one more child so they
They're
could
like,
get
you guys have
seeded.
really good genes. Why don't you try again?
Well, it went a little further than that because Andrew's parents were selected before that.
Right.
And we're back on eugenics. Lovely.
Well, I guess the thing I was kind of getting at with the my hesitancy about not giving the franchise to people currently serving is
Uh,
this idea, this problem that we have now where the boomers run the world.
well, the boomers run the world because they don't give up office.
Yeah, but that's my idea is like I think if you're in the system,
Hmm.
if you're helping it run, I think
Helping
that
it run or profiting off.
helping it run. Like, so if you're doing your service,
Hmm.
I think having a say in who's running things wouldn't necessarily be a bad
Well,
alteration of the Starship Trooper model.
yeah, I don't know. I think if you're going to be ordered to go to combat, and then you get to, you don't get any choices up to that point, and somebody says, "Hey, do you want to vote for pro peace, pro war, whatever?" You are a you are a part of a fighting group. It's not your that's I mean if you successfully win and you get you know you come out, you get out and you're like, well, I need a job, I need all this. Then you can vote. Because you're out of the military, you have perspective on the issues. It's like anti-gun people, you know, talking about gun rights. It's like 50 caliber, whatever, and you're like, yeah,
What if a Black Hawk is oppressing me? I need that 50 cal.
well, yeah. Except who's in the Black Hawk? Is it Joe Biden and Kamala Harris coming by to, selling out the gospel of transgenderism?
For legal reasons, I can't comment on anything to do with that hypothetical situation.
I could just see Kamala Harris wanting to come and offer the love of transgenderism to Putin.
Oh gosh.
We want to love you. Um, yeah,
But
I,
so at the same time, like
yeah,
wars,
mm,
the people fighting them, I think this is part of the problem with some of the wars that have taken place is there's a disconnect between those that
mm,
decide we're going to go to war and those who actually have to be on the ground. And if it's a just war, if it's a good war,
mm.
if it's a necessary war,
So what
then
makes it
then
just?
I think people would be more likely to be like if we were invaded, for instance.
Mm,
I think a lot of people would like you see in Ukraine, they would stand up and fight for their country. Now, a lot of people would
I
declare
don't.
themselves women and try to leave,
That
as we
that
also see in Ukraine.
right,
But
right.
but I think the ones that you want to fight would probably stay there and fight. Um,
Mm.
those who would tuck tail and run probably wouldn't be the best soldiers anyway.
That's true, but
You do need cannon fodder, though.
well, they're going the other way. So your cannon fodder will probably be your clampet that shows up 350 pounds holding the beer, with the cigarette going, I can shoot that. And enough of them survive, and you got a hard, 10 years later, you got a hardened jihad force. Except it's the West Virginia jihadis.
Right.
And here's the thing. I don't I'm starting to wonder, peace, war, they both have their drawbacks and high points. And the high point to war is you have opportunities for courage. You have opportunities for a hero line of doing something. Where in peace, all that you have is, swarmy douchebags. And they're not so. And the swarmy douchebags get along well because um
Well, peace and
the
prosperity.
what?
If you have peace and prosperity. If you have peace but
No,
famine or hardship, you can still
it's,
get those
well,
refining
yeah.
forces.
Well, all I'm trying to say is that I think I don't know. I'm starting to really question what an ideal society would look like. if there is such a thing. Because quite
Yeah.
honestly, I if the only way that we can protect ourselves is to be in a high threat environment, then if you have to rise to the occasion, and that's the only time you can really protect yourself. Because every other time you're relying on other people. And the only difference is, do you trust that they know what they're doing? And if they don't, then you were never safe to begin with.
Well, that's kind of an attribute of a feminine society in a way, because if you,
Oh, there you go.
yeah, I've ruined it. Uh,
Blame it on the women.
well, no, I'm not.
Oh,
I'm not blaming it on the women. I'm blaming it on the men.
I'll blame it on the women. Because here's the thing: you give women the right to vote, they're going to vote their interests.
Or what they believe their interests are.
Are you saying that they don't know their own mind?
I think that most people, men and women, don't really often know what's best for themselves.
Okay, I'll buy that.
But the idea that
Mm,
not having any hardship, that
mm,
getting all of your needs met and everything taken care of, that
mm.
that is the loving thing, that is the thing that will help you to flourish. That's the lie, because a father who loves his child will put them through, or let them face hardship, will let them have to struggle to accomplish something, because they know that the way that you're going to succeed in life is if you're able to face and overcome hardship.
So what does that look like? Son, today you're gonna fight a rattlesnake.
It
Good
look
luck.
it looks like letting, not coddling people. It looks like not providing for their every need. It looks like um, having them, being straight with them and saying, look, you have to work, you have to overcome these things to be a successful,
Dude,
good person.
yeah, I'd agree with that. But here's the thing: you got all these other parents that are coming back to you going, "Hey, dude, what the hell? You told your kid told my kid that Santa Claus is dead." Actually, true story that happened.
Well,
I went around the
he
whole
he fell
classroom.
asleep.
What?
To put it as Jesus might, he fell asleep.
That's how Paul puts it.
Well, Jesus said that too about
Jesus did
Lazarus.
not say Jesus Lazarus sleeping.
Yeah, he's sleeping.
No.
He did.
Show me.
Okay, but this isn't exactly great television.
I don't really care.
Oh, fair.
It's YouTube. People know what they're getting into. If they're even there. I don't know. I think everyone looks at 5 minutes, gets bored, and goes away. So if you're here on this part, leave a.
Our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I'm going there to wake him up.
But NIV sucks.
You're gonna blame it on the version?
Yes, that's what every good self-respecting
Wait, why
Christian.
is it MIT? What is wrong with this?
Am I what?
It says MIT. I don't know. Whatever.
All right.
ESV, I'll make you happy. 11:11. Our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I
Uh,
go to awaken
oh
him.
my gosh. All this flowery language. He's dead.
I've just listened to this, so I have an
Oh,
advantage.
that's fine. I'm not really upset. I'm full upset. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that I don't know. What I'm trying to say is that if you have a peaceful society, and you're not. So, what would it look like to purposely toughen your population? Do we have um, whip fest?
No, I think just taking away all entitlements would be a good first step.
So you want to take away my income? Gotcha.
Um,
I don't see how taking away all my money helps serve this. How about this? How about this? Scholarships for people to go on the different trails. And as you do it, instead of college, going and finding yourself, we do scholarships and set it up to where if you go on the Appalachian Trail, start on one side, go all the way to the end, you got about 4 months to do it. You get a certification. You've done it. You've lost weight.
that sounds like a Boy Scout patch.
Yes. But instead of Boy Scout, like citizenship. And you go through this over and over. You learn how to do certain things. You take, and then you come in and you say, I'm not only a citizen, but I've done these things. And I can come in with some authority and say, nah, we need to do it this way. Sorry. Because I think that's what it is. It's not really a. It, it's. When it comes to citizenship, I don't think people want to be citizens. They just don't want to be around, they don't want people that they don't trust in charge. So they want to extend the franchise to everyone around them where they don't trust anyone and they get to vote in whatever way they can. The ones that are, go back to you went through the R over K things.
Hmm.
So who are the ones that want to do everything by herd selection?
Was that the
R's are
R, right?
right. So you got the R's versus the K's.
Right.
And the R's outnumber the K's. So we don't really work with, but the K's, they're kind of the predatory types. So they're the independent thinkers. I don't want to go there, kind of people. Where the R's are kind of go along to get along. And they just want to be well liked.
Yeah.
I don't want to be liked.
Well, I
I
don't.
want to live in a humane way, but
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
care if you
it's
like
more about
me.
priorities. Like,
Right.
do you prioritize being liked or
Well,
other things?
I think most R's do prioritize.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah. Because they see that as directly linked to their well being.
right.
I don't. Cat.
Da.
Duh.
Da cat.
Alright, well, we prattled on about citizenship for a while.
Sounds fun.
Alright, well, you want to land the plane or what?
Huh? Oh, okay.
What are we
how
at?
do I do this?
I just hit stop.
Oh, but there's an outro, isn't there?
My name's Kevin. I'm the typical cripple, and
I'm Bizarrazar.
we'll see you on the next bounce.
Adios.